because we haven't played for the national championship since January of 20, well, I guess we stink. Or we haven't won it since January of 19. We haven't won the national championship. Well, then I guess we stink. But why are we held to a different standard from all these other teams out there who ain't ever won nothing? We're not perfect, and we may suck this year. We may lay a freaking egg and go 6-6, but I don't think so. And I know that's going to disappoint a lot of people, but I don't think so. All right? The reason we are, I think, the best program in college football is because we've always battled. We've always responded. We are not perfect. We've had some bad moments. We've had some bad little stretches. We've had some lows, and this is one of those. But we have a consistency, and we have a will to win and a fight and a program that is, to me, the model in all of college football. Our kids graduate. We got great people. They compete their butts off. They fight to the end. They respond. That's why we're here. It's not that we've never had adversity. We've had lots of adversity. That's why when I say this program was built from adversity and for it, that's why. I've lived it. So I got faith. I got faith because I've seen it. And again, I got faith in the storm. And this is a little bit of a storm. It's disappointing. And we could go schedule East University, West University, and South University, and everybody's all happy and peachy right now. But hey, we want to win at the highest level here. All right? And that's a part of the process. It's always been a part of the process. And you got to take the good, you got to take the bad, and right now we're in the bad with a walk-off 55-yarder and a very disappointing opportunity that we missed in the first game. But you give them credit, man. I give those.
I'm Will Vandervort. Alex Dodd, our producer, falling asleep over there, so I brought myself up. So anyway, Alex is doing some other stuff behind the scenes as we get ready for here the Believing Clemson Football Podcast. Appreciate you joining us today. That was Dabo Swinney, a very fiery Dabo Swinney. And listen, I couldn't put the whole thing on there because it was over 15 minutes long. And that was just one question. And then another question went for another 8 more minutes, where Dabo went on what we like to say, Dabo rants. And it was a great press conference. It was one of the best we've ever had, and it was fun. And Coach Swinney was open as always. And, so, hey, here we are, Clemson hasn't won a national championship since 2019. They suck. Clemson hasn't played in the college football playoff national championship game since 2020. They suck. They've only been to 7 college football playoffs in 10 years. They suck. Dabo was kind of letting us know how much they suck because they're not fighting right now for a playoff spot, and they aren't. They're 1-2. They just lost on, as he said, a 55-yard field goal as time expired. A field goal that made the jokes on here, and Alice is going to come on here in a few minutes, but we made the jokes before that I've always called it the ghost of Bobby Dodd Stadium. And I'm telling you, man, when the ghost of Bobby Dodd when Clemson and Georgia Tech are even teams, the ghost of Bobby Dodd pulls Georgia Tech through every time. It's crazy what happened in that game the other day because Clemson misses a field goal that just goes a little bit right and they don't get a field goal. And then Georgia Tech, of course, they're all 3 of their kicks are going toward the right, look like they're going to do the same thing, and they just sneak in. And they curl back in. It's like somebody blew that winning field goal into the goalpost. They just blew it in to where it went through the goalpost. It was crazy. But Georgia Tech won the game 24-21. Clemson just didn't look good. Again, offensively, did not play well. Defensively, probably had their worst game of the season to this point from a standpoint of physicality, where Georgia Tech in the fourth quarter just really kind of beat them up, if you will. And so Clemson now sitting at 1-2 to start this football season and 0-1 in the Atlantic Coast Conference. And so here's what's kind of setting the stage for today and what we'll talk about. Nobody's mentioned this, but Clemson's staring at 1-3 in the face. And Alex Dodd comes in wiping his mustache and beard off as he comes into play here.
I was shoveling down a Taco Bell burrito as I was typing out the things I had to do here.
So hey, that's okay, buddy.
Producer
It's what Mr. Producer does. He's got his Baja drink or whatever, and
and he's over here doing stuff to help the program, and he's getting crapped on by the talent. That's producer duties right there. Just, you know what, like Dabo, man. Hey, I go somewhere else, man. I'm just getting started. I'm 26 years old. I'm just figuring out how to do this. So, I can go somewhere else.
You go somewhere else where you're respected, right?
I've only helped take this podcast to certain levels, and I can go somewhere else.
I love it. No, Alex, here's what people aren't talking about. With Syracuse coming to town, and Fran Brown says he's coming to collect. He's coming to collect.
Dabo owes him. Yeah, he's
coming to collect. Dabo owes him, right? And so Clemson is staring at the possibility of 1-3 if they don't get their act together. Alex, do you remember the last time Clemson started the season 1-3? See if you can remember.
Did they do that in 2010?
No, they did not.
That would be then. It would have to be Tommy West.
No, it's not Tommy West.
Is it earlier than that?
It's no.
It has to be more recent.
It's recent than Tommy West.
You might have me stumped there, William.
2004. The Tigers started the season 1-4 that year. So they're looking at 1-4. Alex, here's a stat nobody knows. Right now, Clemson is 2-4 in their last 6 games.
Yep.
2-4. Clemson is 5-5 in their last 10 games. Of those 5-5 record, they're 1-5 against teams that are ranked. That's
not too good.
That's not good. Their wins during those 5 wins that we talked about, 5 wins, those wins are against 3 of those wins are against Troy, the Citadel, and a bad Pittsburgh team that they had to come back to beat. Also, a bad Virginia Tech team is another win that didn't finish the year. I think finished 7-6 last year, and we already know how bad they are this year. That's what this team has done in the last 10 games. It ain't pretty, dude. It ain't pretty at all.
No, it's ugly, and it's gotten to the point now. You're sitting here today, and you looking at the FanDuel odds. Our show's presented by FanDuel for our pick 6, and Clemson somehow. I don't know who's making these odds. I think this is a gimme from Vegas. Clemson somehow it's 17.5-point favorite on Saturday, and you're looking at it.
By the way, that's presented by FanDuel, our sponsor, Believe in Clemson Football. Presented
and you're
by
looking
FanDuel.
at it. You're looking at a 17.5-point favorite. You're like, how in the world is this Clemson football team favored by more than a touchdown against anybody? It's the way it feels right now. And like you said, you can look back to the end of last year, and you can extrapolate that. It's like, how is this team a touchdown favorite against anybody? I mean, that's the realistic questions we need to be asking right now. It's not, can Clemson cover a 17.5-point spread? It's like, can Clemson win this weekend? Can Clemson, why is Clemson favored by more than a touchdown against anybody in the Power 5?
Yeah, what have they shown for that to happen? I mean, Syracuse barely beat Connecticut a few weeks ago, but Connecticut's no different than Detroit, than Troy.
And
Connecticut's
probably better than Troy.
You maybe can argue that. Yeah. I'm like, why in the world is Clemson's favorite? But guess because they're Clemson, and they probably figure everybody's going to take Syracuse, and that's why they're going to do it, because everybody's going to jump Syracuse. But I'm with you. I'm like, it's ridiculous that Clemson's favored by 17.5 points on anybody right now, because then we'll get into this more here in a minute. But because this is an offense that I don't know, can they score 17 points? I mean, that's the first thing. I mean, they scored 27 points, the most they've scored, and that was against Troy.
They're averaging 19.3 points per game.
That's bad.
So you think Syracuse is going to score less than 2 points? You take Clemson with the points there. I mean, that's what it feels like.
And even against Tennessee, Syracuse moved the football up and down the field and scored touchdowns.
Yep. And I know Dabo's, talked about it a lot today during that 20-minute rant. He talked about playing complementary football, and Clemson's definitely not doing that.
Well, they are. They're just playing complimentary the other way.
Yeah, that was what I was going to argue here in a little bit.
Right.
That actually they are playing complimentary bad football. But the offense in particular, coming into the season, the defense, you're like, man, I feel like the defense is going to be a little bit better than they were last year.
Mm-hmm.
And it's small sample size, a lot to be determined on the defensive side of the ball.
Yes.
But offensively, whoo,
Ooh.
you had expectations for the offense. And, honestly, with the 3 games they've played so far, it's going to be pretty difficult for them to turn it around in 9 to be close to the offense you thought they were going to be coming into the year. So you might need to – Saturday was a day to adjust your expectations. That's realistically.
That's what it was. Yeah.
That's what it was.
Exactly. We're going to get more into that here in just a minute. We're going to talk about more of that game. We're going to talk about Dabo Swinney's rant a little bit more. We've got into that a little bit. You saw that to start the show or heard that, depending on if you're listening to us. Also, we're gonna talk about the upcoming game with Syracuse, and we're going to get over our pick sixes and a little bit more of that stuff as well. But before we do all of that, let's go ahead and bring our sponsors in and start talking about those guys and what they do for us. First off, we'll start off with Clemson Insider. Go to the Clemson Insider for the most complete coverage of Clemson athletics and recruiting. Clemson Insider has it all for you right now. We got the insider reports up if you want to know kind of what's going on behind the scenes. Got some good information on that. If you
might
will,
not make you happy. It might not be positive information.
Is anybody happy though right now with Clemson football?
Information it is. I would
Yes.
encourage people to go read that. If you're frustrated and wondering what's the deal with this team, why don't they look like they have any juice, I maybe would go read that insider report.
Exactly. And then we got obviously we got Dabo's rant on the site, as well as Tom Allen and some stuff he's talked about as well. We got to talk to him today. The media did, as well as a few other players. Will Helt spoke to us, and he was good. So was Walker Parks. And guy who's really become a real good speaker is Adam Randall, the running back now, Adam Randall. So go check all that out. You can also check out recruiting. Jason Priester got a ton of recruiting. I know you guys get with Jason on Monday on here, and he's doing his thing with his podcast with recruiting. But, man, Jason's got as much information as anybody. And, Alex, things aren't going good. And Dabo didn't want to talk about it in the press conference. We're not going to talk about recruiting in this press conference forum. But Clemson's got some issues going on the recruiting side.
Blue chip guys are taking visits to other schools.
Exactly.
It's not good.
It's not good at all. And anyway, so go check that out over at the Clemson Insider, the most complete coverage of Clemson athletics. We also want to give a shout out to the all-new Smoke on the Water, which will be located at 64 Beacon Drive in Greenville, South Carolina. That's Restaurant Row off of Pelham Road. If you're in the Greenville area, you know what I'm talking about. The all-new Smoke on the Water, which used to be downtown. Remember that, Alex? Used to be downtown. Everybody loved it going there. And it closed down because of its own, because of the people who own the building, just up the rent or whatever. So they had to move it, and so they're moving it to, like I said, to 64 Beacon Drive. They'll be opening up in early November. The all new Smoke on the Water will feature the same famous smoked meats it had before: the pulled pork, the brisket, the beer butt chicken, my favorite, and prime rib, which is, oh my gosh, outstanding. But a few new things will also appear on the menu as well. Also, its signature 5 barbecue sauces will be there to complement, not smother, any of its smoked meats. Like before, the all-new Smoke on the Water will have Greenville's best happy hour and will still feature live acoustic acts. Smoke on the Water is owned by Mike Schuler, who was, as you know, as I said before, was a stable in downtown Greenville for 18 years before being forced out of the previous location by its new landlords. Right now, if you're craving Smoke on the Water like I am, because we're talking about this and I haven't eaten
the bell-shaped fast food restaurant that I got tacos from.
Yes, you can go and get catered for you, or you can go to the food truck. You can do that by calling 864-232-9091 for more information. Again, that's 864-232-9091. The all-new Smoke on the Water, which will be located in November at 64 Beacon Drive on Restaurant Row off of Pelham Road. Again, want to give them a call for the food truck and catering, 864-232-9091. We appreciate Mike and all the gang over there at Smoke on the Water and Mark Sturgis as well for helping us out and getting us, as a sponsor on our podcast. We do appreciate it, Alex. And so here we are.
Yeah, Adam, as we're talking about craving smoke on the water, he said he's craving wins in the old Clemson.
Yes. And
Smoke on the water may come back before you get the old Clemson. I'm going to tell you that. Smoke on the water will be back this year.
Smoke on the water will come back before old Clemson does. I don't know if old Clemson is going to be back anytime soon, even though Dabo Swinney says it is. If you heard Dabo Swinney today, Dabo says they're going to win another national championship. And he said just not one. He said they're going to win a couple more. So he says they're going to. And he says, you guys laughed at me in 2008 when I told you we're going to win a national championship here at Clemson. And what happened? That's what he said. What happened? Yeah. So, and I remember people did laugh at him.
Yeah.
There were people that laughed at him and rolled their eyes and everything else. And Dabo ended up having the last laugh on that one. So, hey, I hope Dabo's right. I want him to win another national. I love covering national championship teams. It was a blast. It was fun.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to tell you,
it's a lot more fun than covering a 1-2 football team.
It's a lot more fun than covering a Gator Bowl football team.
Yeah. Pop-Tart Bowl.
Or the Pop-Tart Bowl. I mean, it's not – those things aren't fun. I mean, we don't want to go there.
Honestly, this team is looking like a Duke's Mayo Bowl football team than a Pop-Tart Bowl football team.
Yeah.
It might be a little too high tier of a bowl game for this team.
I wouldn't mind covering a Duke's Mayo Bowl. I'll get me a Chick-fil-A sandwich and some Duke's mayonnaise, and I'll be good to go. We were talking about that today as we were leaving. Ashby Mixon, who works with me at the Tiger pregame show and at the Clemson Insider, she was saying she hates mayonnaise. And I'm like, what's wrong with you? How do you hate mayonnaise? Mayonnaise is like one of the best thing that's ever happened to food because you can put it on almost anything and it immediately makes it taste better. It takes a dry piece of meat and makes it taste good. You're
not Southern if you don't like Duke's mayonnaise. I'm sorry.
Hey, and by the way,
Ashby is Southern, but that's like the least Southern thing I've ever heard. Not liking Duke's mayonnaise,
right? Especially from a girl coming from Alabama. And I want to say this.
Unavita said we're hillbillies for saying that. But.
I want to say this, even though Chick-fil-A is not our sponsor, but if they do, we'd love to have them. But the Herb Tyler and the guys over at Chick-fil-A Clemson Seneca, they always feed us on Tuesdays, as you know, Alex, and much appreciated. Well, one of the media members didn't like pickles, and so he lied to Brian Hennessy, who gets the food for us and gets the orders for us. He lied to Brian Hennessy and said that he's allergic to pickles.
No way.
So now we get no pickles on our.
This person on blast.
Yeah, well, I am. It's Darian from the Greenville News, and so I'm sorry, Darian. I told you, you're not going to get away with that when you took my pickles off my sandwich.
He lied and said he's allergic.
Yes, made up a lie and said he was allergic to pickles. So Herb, if you're listening to this, man, put the pickles back on for us, man. I can't believe somebody lied to you. So they took the pickles off our sandwiches. But man, Alex, pickles on the sandwiches, that's what makes a Chick-fil-A sandwich. Am I right?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, and then Spider-Man gets in and says Duke's makes you Southern. I agree.
Absolutely. And we're from Greenville. And where's Duke's mayonnaise originate from?
In Greenville, South Carolina.
That's right, man. That's where me and you from in those areas.
Travelers Rest, baby. Travelers Rest.
I'm technically Berea, so we're both in the same area. But hey, we were there, right? And that's what we want. We want Duke's Mayo because that's what we know, and Greenville area people know Duke's Mayo is the way to go.
And back to football. This is going to be the segue.
I forgot about that.
Here's the segue. What's it going to take for this Clemson football team not to finish the season at the Duke's Mayo Bowl? What's it going to take for them? I mean, or to get to a bowl. I mean, honestly, you're at the point now, you're 1-2. I'm not saying Clemson's not going to make a bowl or anything like that, but like I said, Saturday was temper your expectations Saturday, and you're not talking about CFP or you might not be talking about ACC championship.
Alex, let's do this. We got first of all, we got a lot of comments, and we're going to get to them. So we appreciate you guys. Still keep commenting. We're going to go through them and get them. Alex, I want you to do something for me. Pull up Clemson's schedule, and let's do win-loss game from here on out.
All righty.
Just based off what we know right now.
Yep. Based off of what we saw Saturday and what we've seen the last 3 weeks.
Exactly.
All right, let's start out with Saturday, Syracuse at Clemson.
Okay. Syracuse at Clemson. Okay. What should happen or what I think should happen. So here's the so what should happen is Clemson should win. So I'm gonna give them a win there.
Same.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So that's one.
At North Carolina on October 4th after a bye week where hopefully you're having an intervention in the locker room and on the practice field.
You better go beat the Tar Heels. That better not go up that. I hate going to that stupid place, and I've seen Clemson win twice playing Chapel Hill, and both times they played like dog doo-doo. And the first time was 2010. They got their butts beat, and then 2020 or 19. Or was it 2020?
18.
No, 19.
It's 2018.
19. There wasn't the year they won the national. It's the year they lost LSU.
Oh, you're right.
2019, they went and got beat. I mean, excuse me, they didn't get beat. They looked like they got beat. They barely hung on and won that game against a bad North Carolina team. So anyway, I think they get the win there this year. So there's a win. All right, What you got?
Then you go to Boston College. I also have a win. You go to Boston College the following week.
All right, got a win. All right, then what?
Then you have SMU at home on October 18th. This isn't last year's SMU.
I'm going to give them a win.
I'm going to give them a win as well.
Okay.
Then you have Duke at home.
Okay, win.
I'm going to give them a win there as well. And then this is when things start to get spicy again.
Yep.
You end the season with heat like you started with heat. You got the currently number 7 ranked Florida State Seminoles coming to town on November 8th.
Loss.
Agreed. Then the following week, 6 days later, after you play that incredibly physical football game, you go to Louisville on a Friday night.
Loss.
Yep. And then you get to play Furman.
Win.
Yep. Win. Furman is they're struggling a bit right now.
Yep.
They stuck past Campbell.
So they're going into the South Carolina game 7-4. That's what we got, right?
And then you play South Carolina in Columbia.
And right now, because Carolina looks like dog doo-doo too, I'm going to give Clemson a win.
Yep. That'd be like honestly, I'd probably feel more like an Iowa State game going into Columbia. 2 teams with no offense.
It'll be like Clemson, South Carolina a couple years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just call it what it is. We just saw that game a couple years ago. So 8-4 at best is what we got right now, right? Is that what you got, 8-4?
Yep, 8-4.
So 8-4. It's not what we expected when the season started. 8-4 was not the thing. Now they could start playing better if they do go on this winning streak and they go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in a row, going to Florida State and they're playing better. They're sitting there at 6-2. Then maybe they beat Florida State.
Yeah,
we're really going to find out who Florida State is more when they play Miami here in a few weeks. Yeah. So that's going to be the telltale sign with Florida State, I think, because I still don't think Florida State. I still think Alabama's an 8-4 team. I still think Florida State's an 8-4 team, and and we'll find out. I don't think like Miami. I think Miami is a really good football team.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think Miami is a legit top 5 team and will be in the college football playoff. I'm still not sold on Florida State yet because I'm not sold on Alabama. So I want to see Florida State play somebody with a pulse other than Alabama and see how they do. If they go to Miami and they say take Miami to overtime or beat Miami or something like that, then I may say, okay, Florida State maybe is legit. But the verdict's still out because running the score up on East Texas A&M, who's their first year as a
Division I program,
or FBS program. That I can't judge anything off that because that it is SMU also beat the snot out of them too, right? So that team's gonna probably go 0-12 this year and lose to everybody by 100. So we'll see. Like Dabo said, they played Alabama and then they went and played East University. That's what they played.
Yeah, that's what he said. We could have played North, South, East, or West. The first 3 weeks.
He's like, and we're 3-0, and everybody's feeling good.
Right, there is some truth to it. You could have played North and South, but you still would have had to play Georgia Tech this past weekend,
right,
in the conference. You want to get into Georgia Tech a little bit? Talk about what you saw Saturday.
Yeah, let's get into it. First of all, do we know what the identity of this team is? Because again, in this game against Georgia Tech, we didn't see it.
No,
we did not see. Are they a running team? Are they a passing team? You know, do they feel like they can run the football? Do they feel like they can pass the football? You know,
I do think you saw this week for probably the first time. I mean, the second half of Troy, it's Troy,
right?
you know, so take that as you will. I do think there were glimpses in the football game Saturday where you saw what this team could be.
I agree with that.
You saw a few times where Cade, you know, stepped up in a crowded pocket or, you know, didn't feel pressure that wasn't there, you know, took his reads, threw people open. You saw that a few times. Yep. You saw the offensive line play a lot better.
I thought they played better.
I thought they played exponentially better. I think it was their best game of the year, and I don't really think it's that close. And then you saw
they played better.
Right. I didn't say it was great. I'm saying it was the best game of the year.
Right.
I think. And then you did see them commit to the run a little bit. You saw them give Adam Randall opportunities, and you saw Randall take advantage of it. I mean, he had a dog carry,
30-yard run,
a 30-yard run on third and forever.
Well, that's 2 weeks in a row now. We've seen him have a big run, impactful run. And he said today he's learning a lot about being patient, waiting for his blocks to come open, and doing what he needs to do from a running back standpoint. Says he's getting more and more comfortable. You can see that. And the thing I like about Adam so far is he's falling forward when he gets touched. You know, he's falling forward. He's not getting stopped for any tackles for losses. And he's averaging. You know, he ran for 80-something yards the other day. Averaged over 5 yards a carry, I believe. And so he's doing what you need to do from a running back standpoint.
So I think you saw glimpses of what the offense could be. You saw glimpses that they could be a balanced offense.
Mm-hmm.
And you saw how when they were running the ball well, and realistically, you saw when they weren't turning the ball over, that their team is going to sustain drives, is what you saw.
And I'm glad you mentioned the turnovers, because the turnovers right now in 3 games, Cade Klubnik has 4 turnovers. Everybody else has 1.
Yep.
That's a problem. Your quarterback cannot be turning the football over like this, you know. And the one Adam Randall had is questionable. I still don't think that was a fumble. That was against Troy.
Yeah.
I still don't think that was a fumble. I thought his knee was down and the ball should have came back right there, but or his forearm was down, I should say. But you know, Cade Klubnik he's first of all, you're running in the open field. Why don't you switch hands?
Yeah.
You see the defender coming, switch hands to protect the ball. You always put the ball on the outside of the defender, and he keeps it right there and then doesn't lower his shoulder. So the defender's able to just take him right out and hits the ball. Ball pops out. Georgia Tech gets it. And by the way, Alex, that was the difference in the game.
Yep.
It turned out to be the difference in the game. So that was one. And then I don't know what he was seeing on the interception.
He wasn't seeing. He wasn't seeing. Did you watch
TJ Moore
breakdown today?
Yeah, TJ Moore was covered.
Yeah, TJ Moore was covered up. That's a throwaway.
That's a throw. Well, it's not even a throwaway. That's keep the ball to Randall, because it's an RPO. It's you run the ball there. I know what he's trying to do, but he didn't need to do it. He needed to go by what he was seeing and says, okay, I just got to let number 8 run the ball and see how many yards we can get, you know. And then you look at go third down, you live another down, because you got to get that field goal there. You got to score there. You cannot go without scoring, you know. And
that was a possession where you take control of the game.
Yes.
That's what the most frustrating part of Saturday's game was. It wasn't like, despite all the times Clemson, seemingly shot itself in the foot, there were multiple moments where you could have taken over the game.
Mm-hmm.
You could have taken it over on defense on the last drive. Now, you did make the guy kick a career long to beat you in a fire drill.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't like you just got obliterated down the field, but you could have taken the game over on defense and gotten off the field. You could have taken the game over on offense and scored a touchdown on that drive.
Right.
Or not turned it over after your defense gets a huge 4th down goal line stop to open the game. So there's several times they could have taken the game over, and they just wouldn't do it. And that's the lack of complementary football that we're talking about.
Absolutely. Here's Clemson's offensive drive charts. The last few drives they had, which there wasn't much, neither team had the ball much in the second half because both teams were going long drives. Clemson had the ball before the end of half, right? They got the touchdown. 16 plays, 75 yards. Took 6 minutes and 57 seconds off the clock. That's how they ended the first half.
Yep.
Then they start the second half with that long drive that you just mentioned. 7 plays, 66 yards, 3 minutes and 23 seconds. They got control of the game. They just had this long drive to end the half. Now here they are, another drive. So, Alex, this is 23 plays they've run to end the half and to start the second half. So you're winning you're winning, what does Dabo call it? The last 4 minutes of the half, each half. And by the way, this is the first time in Dabo Swinney's career they actually lost the game when winning the last 4 minutes of the first half and the first 4 minutes of the second half. First time ever.
Yep.
And they lost when they're winning it. And so they end up.
This team is finding new ways to lose.
It is.
That in these 2 games they've lost, they've found new ways to lose that you just aren't used to seeing as a Clemson fan. Like watching the game at home, I don't know how you felt in the stadium that's named after my great-great-grandfather. Watching the game at home, when they go score at the end of the first half and they come out and score in the second half.
By the way, Alex is full of crap, everybody.
He's not actually but when you go out and score on that drive there early in the third quarter, watching the game after watching so many Dabo Swinney coached Clemson teams play, you're like, all right, they're going to take the game over. That's how you feel watching.
That's what I thought. Yeah,
right down the field again and have a chance to score, and Cade throws the interception.
Yeah.
So they're just finding new ways to like Dabo today talked about he called it like big play margin.
Yep.
And Clemson's like in the negative million big play margin right now. When they need a big play, they can't get it.
That's right.
Or when the other team needs a big play, they get it every single time. That's the way it feels right now.
That's the way it feels. By the way, Clemson did get a big play though. 73-yard touchdown pass to Bryant Wesco. 2 plays on their next possession. 2 plays, 76 yards. So, Alex, we saw a 75-yard drive, a 66-yard drive, and a 76-yard drive. So we're seeing the offense
move the ball,
start to move the football and sustain drives and be consistent. And so then, but then I say that, and they get the next drive, and they go 3 plays minus 13 yards. So right there, they go boom. But that happens to everybody. Then Georgia Tech goes on. It's a 11-play, 50-yard drive that ends in a fumble that Clemson takes over on downs. Then Clemson gets the ball again. Here they are again. Chance to take control of the game. They're up 14-13. Should be up probably 17-13 at worst. And they got a chance to gain control of the game. And they go 3 plays, 6 yards.
Yep.
So here, that's what, so there's the inconsistency. And that drive ends with the incomplete pass to Bryant Wesco, who had the first down.
Yep.
Had it right in his hands. He's open. He tried to run before we caught it.
Is that the same drive where Cade pointed at Tyler Brown and told him that he should have been deeper?
No, that was the touchdown drive that tied it in the thing. But Cade was totally right on that because Tyler Brown
he was partially right. He was partially right because if Tyler Brown both safeties had already committed to the middle of the field.
So he should have went the other direction.
And if Tyler Brown kept going straight, which is what Cade was telling him to do, it's a hospital ball, an incompletion, or an interception. Those are your 3 options on that play, and he had 2 corner routes.
Well, Dabo talked about that play, and Dabo says that Cade actually made the right read. Tyler was not supposed to sit down.
I think he made the right read if he threw the ball earlier.
Well, that's probably what he's saying.
But he's saying threw the ball when he threw it, there was no option for a positive play.
Right. But Tyler was supposed to keep going. He wasn't supposed to sit down on that play. And then, but he also mentioned they were open on the outsides and probably should have went to one of those guys too. So it is what it is. But the person who got a bad grade on that play was Tyler Brown, not Cade Klubnik. So anyway, and that's according to Dabo Swinney. So then after Georgia Tech goes on their long drive, which was a marathon drive, and they score to take the lead. Clemson goes on its long drive, the last possession of the game for the Tigers, which just sucks, but that's what it was. They go on a 13-play, 75-yard drive that takes 6:36 off the clock. So in the last 6 possessions Clemson had, they went 75 yards for a touchdown, 66 yards, an interception inside the red zone, 76 yards and a touchdown, and then 75 yards and a touchdown. So that's better.
Yeah.
Now they got to do that without the -13 and the 6 that they had in between on those 2 drives where they could have taken control of the game. And that's what Dabo Swinney was talking about, because your defense at that point is controlling the line of scrimmage. They are knocking Georgia Tech off the ball. They're giving you opportunities to get the ball back. They did that after the interception. The defense gave them 3 consecutive balls back with a chance to get control of the game. Yeah. And the offense only scored on 1 of those. So that's the complementary football Dabo's talking about. And then when the offense goes and gets a game-tying drive, the defense can't get the stop to get the ball back to the offense so they can go win the game. Instead, Georgia Tech wins the game.
Right.
That's where Dabo's talking about complementary football is not happening on either side of the ball right now. But you know who is doing complementary football? Jack Smith, the punter.
Yeah. He's setting everybody up for success. He's changing field position. I mean, he
punt the ball inside the 9-yard line.
Yeah, to come into the season and you're hearing Dabo say, "Yeah, we might line him up in pregame, see who's going to be the punter."
Yeah.
To go from that to what he's done the last 3 weeks has been, a bright spot. And like we said, at the beginning of the season, we said if you're worried about who the punter is, then that means you probably have a pretty good football team. If you're saying that the punter's been a bright spot for your football team,
that means you don't have a good team.
That means the opposite. That means the opposite.
It does. Alex, let's pull up some comments here while we got a few seconds here.
Yeah, I got a few here. John gets in and says Antonio Williams is the key to this offense. Cade sophomore year didn't have him most of the year and didn't have a great season. Last year Williams was back and Cade had a good season. And this year Williams hasn't played.
Yes, very good point. Dabo even said today as he's walking out the door, you guys didn't see this in the press conference, he sees other than he looks at Qualkenbush, William Qualkenbush, and he says, "Hey, man, we got Walker Parks. It ain't all bad. We got Walker Parks back." He says, and we got Antonio Williams, maybe. We got Antonio Williams coming back, maybe. It ain't all bad. It's good. We're getting good. We're going to get better. Then he says, "Unlike your hat, Qualk."
He was wearing a WCCP hat, which I thought was pretty funny too.
So it was pretty funny. But so it sounds like Dabo, off the record, he wouldn't tell us during the press conference, but off the record, he's telling us as he's walking out the door there that it sounds like they're going to get Antonio Williams back maybe this week. We'll go
which
find
could
out.
Be huge. I mean, because the other thing is, Antonio Williams, in my mind, is Cade's safety net.
Right.
He's not pushing Antonio on the seam a lot or, throwing bombs to Antonio a lot. But Antonio is 3rd and 7.
He runs a
or
crisp
it's 3rd and 6 or it's 3rd and 5. He's making a move to get open.
He's your best route runner.
Target. Yeah.
He's your best route runner. Him and Wesco are the two best route runners.
Wesco this year has, in my mind, taken leaps and bounds in his route running.
Can you imagine if you get Antonio Williams back, bad Antonio Williams to go with him?
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden your passing game does get way better.
Yep. Here's one from Justin. He said, another thing, is Vizina going to get a shot?
That's a great question. I think he should have already gotten a shot. I mean, we've seen
I know
Cade
Dabo
struggle.
Today said, kind of reiterated Cade's his guy. But
Cade can still be his guy.
Cade can still be your guy. But at a certain point, it's like maybe it'd help him to step back and chill a little bit.
See the field from the side.
Yep.
And that, sometimes that helps guys. You don't got to do much. Just, let's see what the other guy does. Anyway. What we got else? What else we got?
Here's one from Alex Spurlock. It's a long one. I'll kind of sum it up for you.
Yeah.
Will, is it wrong to be frustrated? He said, because that's how Dabo makes it feel.
Let's be
And
honest.
he talked about how Clemson's more talented than Georgia Tech player to player. And the best part of the team is the run game, yet they keep throwing it on first down. Make it make sense. I think we're allowed to be frustrated when we're sold a pile of crap.
Alex Spurlock, you are absolutely correct. You're allowed to be frustrated, and you should be frustrated because you were told all season long in the preseason that this is the team. That this is the team that's going to get them back to the promised land, that's going to get them at the top of that mountain, and they're going to win a national championship. And that hasn't come to fruition yet. And it more than likely is not going to. I mean, because Clemson can win out the rest of the game. They can go 9 straight here, which wouldn't surprise me because they've done it in the past. So it wouldn't surprise me if Clemson were to go 9-0 the rest of the way. You know, if you look at Clemson's history, this actually, the way this season starts happens more times than not.
Right.
And, you know, I could go all the way back to Danny 4 days and this exact same stuff happens, you know. So, and then they close out the year with 8-9 wins, you know, in a row, or 6 or 7 in a row. Does that sound familiar?
Yeah.
It does to me. We've seen Dabo's teams do it a lot too, right? You have every right to be frustrated because even if they win out, I don't think this team makes the playoffs.
Yeah,
Because
you don't
here's
control.
why.
You don't control your own destiny.
You don't control your own destiny. So I don't think you're going to get into the ACC championship game because I think Miami's going to go undefeated, and I think Georgia Tech at worst is going to have 1 loss. So you got to hope. What Clemson fans need. This is what Clemson fans need. They need somebody to beat Georgia Tech. Who? I don't know, because Georgia Tech's got a very easy path now to the ACC championship game. They need Miami to lose to Florida State, and then Clemson beat Florida State. Now you got an opportunity, right?
Yeah. Or you need like Miami to make it to the ACC championship game and Georgia Tech to beat them by 1 billion, which isn't going to happen.
Right. Well, I think if Clemson doesn't get to the ACC championship game and play for an ACC championship, they're not going to make the college football playoff. And here's why: because who were they beaten?
Yeah, you would have beaten
nobody.
A top 10, potentially top 10 Florida State team if they can find a way to keep it rolling.
But do we think Florida State's going to be top 10? Because if we're saying Miami's in the championship, we don't think that.
Right.
They're not going to be top 10. They may be top 20.
Yeah, I think they'll be a top 25 team when you play them.
That may be the only one. Then who else?
You may have one other team
maybe
that
Louisville?
finds a way, like maybe Louisville, maybe SMU.
I
Somebody.
don't think SMU's going to be because SMU's not right now. They're not playing well either. So it's not SMU. Maybe it's Louisville. It's not Duke, right? It's not going to be North Carolina or Boston College. And you know who it's definitely not going to be at the end of the year? It's not going to be South Carolina.
Yeah, I mean, because they're going to go to Como this weekend.
You were
potentially
banking
without their quarterback, and
you were banking on South Carolina being good at the end of the year and having another chance to get an SEC win. And you might get an SEC win, but it might be against a 4-7 South Carolina team,
right?
You know, because they're about to go on a road trip. I mean, a trip of games that's unbelievable starting here. After this, they got Missouri, then Kentucky.
It starts this weekend. Yeah, it starts this weekend.
Starts this weekend, but then they got Kentucky at home. Then they got Oklahoma, LSU, Alabama, Texas A&M. I mean, my goodness. If you talk about a murderous row, I mean, that is – and then they get Coastal Carolina and Clemson to close out the year. Coastal Carolina and Clemson going to be their easiest games during that stretch. Really. And so, so I just don't know. But go ahead. What you got there?
Here's one from Rob Ellen. Doesn't seem like we are committed to the run and need less deep throws. I guess he's saying they don't throw it deep as much. Looks like the Kenny Pickett Steeler era.
Oh man, why you gotta go there? Why Rob? Why you gotta go and just take a shot at me?
Every week, Rob throws like a little dagger in there for us and just twists it.
Yeah, just like come on, the Steelers were hard. By the way, if anybody's got it worse than Clemson, it's the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, my goodness, they can't stop a nosebleed right now on defense. It is bad. I mean, awful bad. Going back to last year, where it's just last 10 games out, the Steelers have given up 27.8 points per game and over 370 yards in the NFL.
That's worse than the Clemson defense in college right now.
And by the way, guess who hasn't had a sack in 6 games?
TJ Watt.
TJ Watt hasn't had a sack in 6 games.
Maybe it is kind of similar to Clemson because Clemson's star defensive end is also MIA.
It's also begins with TJ.
Yeah.
It's TJ
Call it
Parker.
TJ Parker. Are
Yeah.
you going to be on the football team this weekend? Another one from Robbie gets in and asks, how's Khalil Barnes, if you have an update there?
Yeah, so Dabo would not give us. He said he's day-to-day. But then when he was going off, Tom Allen today talked about it, and it didn't sound like they were going to get him back. Said like he was still going through, and they're hopeful to get him back. I think it's probably going to be after the bye before they get Khalil Barnes back. And Tom Allen talked about how big that is. We just talked about Antonio Williams, right? So Khalil Barnes on the other side is another guy that they're really missing. He says that that's their tiger, their tiger player, and that they really like him playing that position and want him in there. And because he's good at stopping the run, he's physical, and he can create havoc like we've seen him do where he creates turnovers. And he's like, not having him on the field has really hurt them. From a standpoint of trying to create turnovers and doing the things they want to do. And you saw that against Georgia Tech, right? I mean, because they had like they had like Tink Kelly out there playing the position, and Georgia Tech just ran right over him every time he was out there. So yeah, that's what we got going on there with that. So anyway, Alex, so here we are,
Well, I do want to touch on this, Will. I mentioned in the kind of the intro to the show that I think maybe Clemson is playing complimentary football this year, just not in the way that you want them to play complimentary football. So I cherry picked a few stats here, 4 of them. So third down conversion percentage. The Clemson offense currently ranks 74th in Division I at a clip of 405. About 40% on third down. And a lot of that's because of these comments you guys are saying. They're going 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9. If you actually look at the percentage where they have 3rd and short, Clemson's like one of the better teams in third down conversions on 3rd and short, but they don't get in that situation very much. The defense is 103rd in Division I at stopping third down conversions. They give it up at a 436 clip. So opponents are 43.6%, which is better than the Clemson offense on third down. Scoring. The Clemson offense in scoring 111th in the country at 19.3 points per game. The Clemson defense 53rd at 19 points per game. Total offense. Clemson 109th in Division I, 319.3 yards per game. Clemson defense in total defense, they're giving up 338.3 yards per game. That's 74th. In Division I. Turnover margin, Clemson's 64th. They're even at 0 right now. They've thrown 3 interceptions and fumbled twice, and they have intercepted 3 passes and forced 2 fumbles. So I think they are playing complimentary football, just not in a good way. It's like if you look at all the teams that are ranked around Clemson in these categories, you're talking about teams like Kansas State, who's 1-3.
Who's not doing good either. Yep.
So it's not good territory to be in right now. And you did see some positive signs from the Clemson offense. I think a lot of the Clemson defensive numbers has to do with, playing some better teams early in the season.
Yeah, I think Clemson's numbers on defense will even out if they continue to play like they have when they play teams like North Carolina and Boston College and Duke maybe. But Clemson's got some pretty good offenses on it. SMU's they're not shabby. So they, Syracuse this week. By the way, read Syracuse. Where's Syracuse at in the offense? It's pretty high.
So I don't have the rankings pulled out for Syracuse, but offensively they're scoring 39.67 points per game.
Yeah.
They are rushing for an average of 107 yards and passing for an average of 379 for a total of 486 yards per game.
Yeah,
that's the defensive side for Syracuse, though. This is where you feel
they're last in the country. Yeah, do you? Because Georgia Tech wasn't great last week either.
You're not wrong, but defensively, Syracuse has given up 29.67 points per game. That's bad, and they're giving up 439 yards per game. So if your offense can't figure it out against the Syracuse defense on Saturday, then that 8-4 might look unachievable.
But let's do this. Let's look at this Syracuse defense, and I want to take context to this. Bear with me here. I'm touching my screen because it's a touch screen. It's easier to do when I'm trying to be fast. Let's see. Total defense. All right, Syracuse. By the way, Syracuse ranked 16th in the ACC. Guess who's last? Virginia Tech, 448 yards per game.
And their coach is the unemployment line today.
Yes, he is.
About 2 years too late on the Brent Pry experience, I fear.
So here's what they've done defensively, total yards, and breaking it down by game logs. All right, so against Tennessee, they gave up 246 rushing yards, 247 passing yards. What great balance for the Volunteers. And 68 plays. That's 493 total yards. They gave up 7.25 yards per play. Okay, so 7.3 yards per play against Tennessee. Then they played Connecticut, and they won 27-20 in overtime. They gave up 142 rushing yards, 274 passing yards, 78 plays, 416 total yards overall, 5.3 yards per play. Then against Colgate, who's an FCS team, right? Is it Colgate an FCS team?
Toothpaste brand.
Yes. So the toothpaste, it was 66-24, but Colgate rushed for 107 yards, threw for 301. In 83 plays, they had 408 total yards, and they averaged 4.9 yards per play, so basically 5 yards per play. So, yeah, that's a bad defense.
Yep.
But here, let's pull up Clemson offense for those. Let's break Clemson down by game, okay? And here we go. By the way, Clemson ranks 15th in the ACC. And we go to their game log here. Here's Clemson's game log against LSU, who's got a really good defense, by the way. Got to give LSU credit. Clemson, 31 rushing yards, 230 passing yards on 58 plays, 261 total yards, averaged 4.5 yards per play. Then against Troy, Clemson, 120 rushing yards, which was better. 117 of that came in the second half, or 103 of that, came in the second half. 196 passing yards on 55 plays. Total yards, 316, 5.75, so 5.8 yards per play. And then Georgia Tech game, they had 174 yards, 207 passing yards, 174 rushing yards, 207 passing yards, 61 plays, 381 yards, 6.25, so 6.3 yards per play. Much better. But here's the thing, Alex. Here's what is a disturbing trend, and this is what Dabo's talking about. The defense, and you just mentioned it about third downs, the defense being bad on third down.
Yep.
They got to get off the field.
Yeah.
LSU held Clemson to 58 plays. Troy held Clemson to 55 plays. And then Georgia Tech held Clemson to 61 plays. That is what part of the problem is. The offense can't get in a rhythm. Now, part of that's the blame on the offense, without a doubt. When you go 3 and out, you're not helping yourself at times. But then the defense also not getting off the field on third down, not getting 3 and outs. I think Clemson's had, in their 3 games, they've had a total of 4 3 and outs, and that's it for the 3 games. You got to be better than that on defense. Now, the defense has improved in a lot of areas, but that right there, you got to get better on third down defense. I mean, it's imperative, because you got to give your offense more shots. And getting the most plays you've got all year is 61 in 3 games. You haven't yet got, and Clemson, by the way, Clemson averaged 75 plays a game last year.
Yep.
That's 14 plays per game your offense is not getting right now. That's big. That's really big. And you're about to play a Syracuse team, by the way, who their goal is to get 80 plays per game, because they're going to go tempo, and they're going to go boom, 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 boom. So you really got to get off the field and give your team a chance, because if not, it could be a long day for Clemson on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, it could get ugly in a hurry. And, as we kind of transition to talk about Syracuse a little bit, I mean, this is a team that, they're hungry, they're gritty, and they're well coached. I mean, Fran Brown has them in a position to win. It feels like every time that they step on the field. They, like Georgia Tech, they play with the identity of their football coach. They're fast, they're tough, and they enjoy being out there. Mm-hmm. So this isn't a team that you can screw around with on Saturday.
No, they're not. And this is an offensive team. As bad as Syracuse is on defense, they're really, really good on offense again. And they're very, very electric. And, go watch the Tennessee game. They made plays on Tennessee. They moved the ball up and down the field on Tennessee.
Well, and they kind of tightened that margin there at the end.
They did.
They made it a little interesting in the fourth quarter after people had kind of turned it away. Obviously, Tennessee went on to win by a big margin when Syracuse was pressing, but they did make the game kind of interesting at the end.
They did. So this is not going to be an easy game, and Clemson needs its fans in the Death Valley more than ever before to win, because this is like I just mentioned it earlier, right, Alex? Alex, how old were you in 2004, Alex?
During the football season, I would have been 5 years old.
5 years old. Alex was 5 years old the last time Clemson started the season 1-3. That's what they're facing this week. A possible 1-3 start to a season. And so this team, though, unlike that 2014, is better than that 2014 was that started the year 1-4. I covered that team. That was my first year covering Clemson. What a wake up!
You were like, "What did I get into?"
I was like, "Man, they're going to be like this team's going to be out." They ended up finishing 6-5, and that was obviously the brawl game against South Carolina. So I didn't go to a bowl game, which is the last time Clemson didn't go to a bowl game, by the way. Not that I don't believe this would happen this year. I still think this is at worst case, an 8-win football team, but. I can't believe I'm saying they're an 8-win football team. I can see a scenario where they win 7 games.
Yeah.
But it starts this week against Syracuse. And by the way, that Syracuse quarterback leads the nation in passing yards.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's talk about him a little bit. Cole Gerard gets in with the positivity. He says it all changes Saturday.
There you go, Cole.
It can. But this guy's going to be in the way. Steve Angeli. He's completed 64% of his passes this year. Mm-hmm. He's already thrown for 1,072 yards, 8 touchdowns, and only 2 interceptions. I wanted to compare that to, coming into the year, Heisman hopeful Cade Klubnik. He's sitting at 59.1% completion percentage. Guess how many yards he has?
I wouldn't even say 600.
633.
633, okay.
3 touchdowns, 3 picks.
Doesn't seem like the same guy that had 36 touchdowns.
If I read these numbers out to you coming into this game, none of you knew who Steve Angeli was until we just told you.
And how many touchdowns
you heard it on the radio this weekend.
How many touchdowns does Angeli have?
He has 8.
8 touchdowns. How many interceptions?
2. If we read you these numbers, you would tell me, if I read you these numbers in July, you would tell me that Cade Klubnik's the one with over 1,000 yards coming into week 4.
Yeah.
Not Steve Angeli. But Steve Angeli's going to be a problem on Saturday in Death Valley if you don't get after him, get him off his spot, and get him to go 3 and out.
By the way, if you watch Syracuse, they're not going to allow Clemson to get him off his spot because they're just going to do what everybody else has done. Clemson needs, and I know Clemson doesn't want. Clemson has to corral the receivers. Georgia Tech.
Yeah, they didn't do it Saturday like we thought they would.
They
played more man coverage.
They did play more man, but they didn't
press man.
They didn't press man at all. And maybe that has something to do with Dabo saying they're not physical enough on the perimeter. And Tom Allen talked about that today as well. Says their technique's not where it needs to be. And it's kind of interesting because one thing we've always known about a Mike Reed defensive backs is they're physical and they're good with their technique. And so it's kind of weird that that's not happening. I'm surprised as much as they're struggling at corner right now. But they got to lock that up this week. They got to get physical with Syracuse. They got to do press man because that's the only way you can get TJ Parker and those guys going. If you're sitting 10 yards off and you're going to say, okay, we're just going to tackle in space, that's great.
And we're going to rush 4.
Yeah, but they're just going to just snap, one read, get the ball out. That's what they're going to do. And the Clemson's defensive line did get after Haynes King this week because they took away some of those screens and stuff. Now, Clemson did a much better job defending the screens than they had the first 2 weeks. Yes. I thought they were better there than they were previous weeks.
Well, they also didn't put themselves in as many positions where they didn't have numbers.
Right.
Like they did against LSU, for example.
Right. And Troy early on.
Yep.
But they're going to see that again this week. Syracuse is going to attack it. They're going to try to outflank them over there and try to get numbers where they get a guy and just do a little tunnel screen and get 10 yards, Here's another thing Clemson needs to do. Garrett Riley. If Tyler Brown takes a pop pass, I think it was, I don't know if it was a pop pass or end around, and he goes for 15 yards and a first down, and then he does it again and goes for 15 yards and a first down, could you keep doing it?
Yeah, I mean, he looked like a daggum running back.
I mean,
the way he cut back, he was patient coming around that. You see how many wide receivers you see do that just go full blast after they get the football and they get hit like 2 yards down the field when they could have had 15.
Exactly.
Tyler Brown, slowed up, used his vision, split the blocks, and picked up 15 and made a guy miss and pick up 15 on that end around. You don't see that kind of vision from receivers on the jet sweep very often. I'd like to find more creative ways to give him the football.
Yeah.
Throw it to him when he comes around the end in motion. Get him to cut back inside, hand him the ball in the backfield in a loaded set. I want
to see. Why did you stop doing it? Remember Artavis Scott against South Carolina?
That's what it reminded me
on the pop pass.
Yeah.
South Carolina had no answer for it. And so what did they just do? They just kept giving it to him. And he had like 7 catches for 180 something yards and a couple touchdowns. And
he caught them all behind the line of scrimmage.
Yeah. He's running like crazy on South Carolina. But the thing about Chad Morris did in that game, Chad Morris stayed with it and didn't go like, well, that worked, but let's go do this now. I don't know. I think our good buddy Phil Sykes, he sent me a text message the other day during the game, and he says, is this me, or does it seem like Clemson never can run the football consecutively? They'll get 5 yards and then they throw the ball.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it's 3rd and 5. It's like, why not you just got 5 yards, just run the ball again and get 3 yards, and then you're 3rd and 2.
I think they did that like one time on Saturday. They ran Randall like 3 times in a row on one of those long drives. I think it was a scoring drive.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the second quarter, they ran him like 3 times in a row until he had to basically come off the field because he was so doggone tired.
And one of our friends to the show, Faxon Childress, he put on his show the other day that Clemson, when they opened a drive with Adam Randall carrying the ball, they scored a touchdown all 3 times. The other times they didn't open with him carrying the ball and they didn't score a touchdown. So maybe there's something to that. I'm just saying.
Maybe.
Isn't that something the offensive coordinator is supposed to track? Trends like that? Isn't that things you do and you start going to it? Especially when your offensive line seems like it's getting itself down, it's feeling confident in itself. Why did you stop running it? Again, they finished with 174 yards rushing, best game of the year. They actually outran Georgia Tech. By the way, kudos to the Clemson defense, too. I want to say this. Georgia Tech was averaging 271 yards a game on the ground coming in. Clemson held them to 147. So you did your job in that sense.
The Clemson defense did enough for Clemson to win the football game.
Clemson, it was, again, one of those rare times where I thought Clemson controlled the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball for the most part. And they lost the game. But very rarely do you see that happen where a team controls both sides of the line of scrimmage. Because Georgia Tech
when do you see it happen,
thing,
Will? What's the one thing that can make that not matter?
Don't turn the ball over. Yeah.
Turnovers.
The Georgia Tech had no tackles for loss. None. 0. Zilch. Clemson had 8. Had outrushed them 174 to 147. No tackles for a loss. Had 8 tackles for a loss. And you lost the game. I think Clemson had 3 sacks or 4 sacks and lost the game.
Yep.
Just very disappointing. Like to see some things continue this week. Those things we just mentioned, right? I think if Clemson does that, Alex will go ahead and start there. We're going to do our pick 6, by the way. Believe in Clemson football, presented by FanDuel. So, Alex, who does FanDuel have, and what's the line for Clemson?
Yeah, we'll start with Clemson. I mentioned it earlier. Syracuse at Clemson, noon kick. Clemson is a 17.5-point favorite. I think it's free money, personally. I think it's free money. I'm going to say it right now. Get on FanDuel right now. This is free money that they're handing you.
It
Prove
is.
me wrong, Clemson. This is free money they're handing you. Take Syracuse with the points.
Because I'm going Syracuse plus 17.5.
I'm taking Syracuse plus the 17.5. Here's what Clemson has to do to win the football game. I've given you my keys each week. The keys I have this week: positive yards on first down. That's key number 1.
Yep.
Win the turnover margin is key number 2. And start strong is key number 3. And I think Clemson has only done one of those things once this year. You know, they won the turnover margin against LSU, correct?
Yeah.
So that's the only time.
Won against Troy too.
Yeah, and against Troy.
Yeah,
but you lost it this past week, negated it
2-0 this past week.
Yeah. So those are my 3 keys for Clemson to win the football game. But I'm taking Syracuse to that free money at 17.5.
Yeah, my keys to the game is, first of all, Clemson's defense has got to get off the field. I'm sorry. It comes to that. They got to get off the field. And then number 2 key is TJ Parker has to show up. You want to know part of the reason why Clemson is not doing what they need to do is they don't have a game wrecker.
Yeah.
Their game wrecker has just decided not to show up all year. Now, some of it is because of scheme and what teams are doing, but some of it's not. Some of it, he's just not playing well. You know, Coach Allen talked about it today. He said he's got to win those matchups, and he's not winning them right now. And so those are my first 2 keys. And then on the offensive side of the ball, Garrett Riley, please, for the love of God, keep giving the ball to Adam Randall. You know, I don't care if Cade Klubnik doesn't throw another single touchdown pass the rest of the year. But if my guy is averaging 6 yards a carry, give him the ball. Just wear him down. Keep that Syracuse offense on the other side. I want to see Adam Randall with 25 carries for 200 yards.
Please, if Adam Randall has 25 carries on Saturday, I will be the happiest man in Colorado.
Yep.
If Adam Randall runs the ball 25 times Saturday.
So those are my 3 keys. Get Adam Randall the football. TJ Parker, you need to show up. Defense, you got to get off the doggone field and give your offense the ball back. That's what I want to see.
And then do you have Syracuse with the points as well?
I got Syracuse covering because I don't think any of that's going to happen. I just said.
This is called Believe in Clemson, but it doesn't mean that we have to. So we're both taking Syracuse with the points there. Let's get into some weird and wacky in the pick 6 this week. First one I got for you is SMU at TCU. What do they like? Battle for the cast iron skillet or something like that? TCU is
battle for the brisket.
Yeah, TCU is a 6.5 point favorite in the Metroplex battle of DFW.
So this is at TCU, correct?
At TCU.
So TCU is getting 6.5.
Yep.
Give me TCU minus 6.5. I think they cover. I like TCU. I think they're a good football team.
I think
and
TCU,
they want some revenge from last year.
That's what I was about to say. I think I would be more inclined to take SMU if the game didn't end the way it did last year with like Sonny Dykes getting ejected and all the fireworks that happened in that one last year. I like TCU in a revenge game at Fort Worth with the points. The next one I have is a Big 12 showdown. That is number 17 Texas Tech at number 16 Utah. The Utes are a 2.5 point favorite.
And that's at Utah?
It's at Utah, at Elevation.
The word is anytime a home team, well, they're not an underdog, they're the favorite, 2.5 point favorite.
Yep.
But isn't it like if it's 2.5 anything, you always take the home team? Because you're getting 3 points automatically being the home team. So they're saying that if this game was played at Texas Tech is a 3 point favorite?
Yeah, Texas Tech is like a 3 or 4 point favorite if they're playing in Lubbock.
And so I'll tell you what, I'm going to go give me Texas Tech plus the 2.5. Same
here. I just think they're too talented. I think this is their year to do something special in that conference and make a run at it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to take them too. So we're in agreement so far, which is not good for my deficit in the pick'em, which currently Will is 8-10. And that's the better of the two of us, which isn't good. I'm 7-11.
Will, what did I do last week though?
Will went 4-2 last week.
There we go.
And I went 3-3. One of the things they say in like a team roping and rodeo is it only takes one steer to turn it around. So Will got his steer last week.
No, I already turned it around, man. We're good. We're going all the way now.
The next one is number 22 Auburn At number 11, Oklahoma, the Sooners at the Palace on the Prairie are a 6.5-point favorite.
Auburn's a little bit better team this year.
Yes, agreed.
I'm surprised they're ranked. I'm just going to be honest. I'm surprised they're ranked, but they're a better team, so maybe they deserve to be ranked. But Oklahoma is one of the better teams. Give me the opposite team. Will picks. There's some truth to that. Oklahoma's a better team, though, this year, too, and they're playing well. Oklahoma, I think, might have the Heisman Trophy quarterback on their team.
Yep, John Mateer.
Yes. I mean, look what they did last week. You're talking about going on the road and take care of business like you're supposed to.
Yeah.
After a big win, and you got this big game coming up right after that.
And you got to go play Temple. And you got to go to Philly.
Yes. Like nobody cares about college football up there.
Play in front of tens of people.
What'd you say, 6.5 is the line?
6.5.
Give me Oklahoma minus 6.5 over Auburn.
Me too, so I'm not clearing any ground this week. That's good to know. South Carolina at Missouri, number 23 in the land. Missouri, what do they call it? It's like the mayoral campaign or something, the Battle of the Mayors, because it's Columbia and Columbia, something like that. Mayor's Cup.
Yeah, the Mayor's Cup. They're both Columbia, yep.
And the Tigers that wear yellow and black are 11.5-point favorites. I'm going to say give me Missouri with the points.
Is Sellers playing?
That's a great question. I'm not giving you insider information after I just picked Missouri. So you make a pick and then I'll tell you.
Well, that's everything, though.
I don't care. You should have looked it up earlier.
Well, you didn't give me that as one of the games, so don't blame that on me. Don't you come at me with that. Hold on a second. I'm going to look it up as I was sitting here talking. So
Shane Beamer didn't give a Lenora Sellers injury update for the Missouri game.
Okay, he didn't give one, which tells me he's probably not going to play because he got injured in the second quarter. Odds of coming back from a concussion the next week are slim to none. Ask Elijah Thurman from Clemson. His happened on a Monday. Yep. He did not play. I expect him to probably play this week. So I'm going to go ahead, unlike Brad Woods, who's got Clemson, Missouri by 21. I'm going to go ahead. So they're giving Missouri minus 11.5.
So you're taking Missouri with the points too. This is just wonderful for me. This is my only chance to make up any ground in the pick'em this week. Is this stupid football game between two teams that nobody knew had football programs 15 years ago. We have Illinois at Indiana. Indiana is a minus 5.5-point favorite. Who would have thought that we were talking about these two teams at a big football game in the Big Ten on Saturday?
Wow. Is game day there?
I don't know where game day is, but dang it, they should be there.
So it's Illinois plus the 5.5 at Indiana. That's what you're telling me.
Yes.
So that's saying if this game
day is going to be at Miami as they host DJ Lagway's 5-interception throw and tail, and Billy Napier on his farewell tour for his 1 and 2 Gators.
That's the game they're going to?
Yeah.
So they didn't come to Clemson LSU, but they went to they go there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So stupid. And I'm assuming the big noon is probably then at Illinois, Indiana.
That would be my assumption.
Yeah. If this game was at Illinois, then that tells me Illinois is a 2.5-point favorite.
Yeah, something like that.
Indiana does have a lot back from that defense last year. I know Illinois likes to do their whole substitute thing, get people aggravated, mad at them. And this is a tough one.
Yeah, it is. I know. That's what
Illinois.
I'm saying.
What's Indiana? What's Indiana ranked?
19th.
Not that matters. And Illinois is ranked top 10, right?
Yeah, number 9.
Number 9. You know what? Give me the Hoosiers.
Top 10 win.
Minus 1.5. Yep.
I'm going to take Illinois. I just think they're more physical. I think that
you got to time me.
Yeah, because I gotta tie you this pick. And the other thing is, I don't know. I think Illinois is going to go in still, even though they're ranked higher than Indiana. they're going to go in and kind of play with a chip on their shoulder. They'll be like, "Oh, we're a 6-point underdog." Everybody talks about Indiana this, Indiana that. I think they're going to kind of go in with that attitude, and like Brett Bielema and boys.
See, this is what's wrong with the new NIL and rev share crap.
Is that we have Illinois and Indiana.
Illinois in Indiana now. Come on.
Yeah,
What's
two
going
fan
on
bases
here?
that could give a crap about whether their football team wins on Saturday if they think they're going to make the tournament in basketball.
What are we doing? This is what the NIL and the transfer portal and rev share are doing to college football. We got Indiana and Illinois playing in a big football game. What's going on? This is sick. This is horrible. This ain't supposed to happen. This isn't my college football. Not even close to being my college football. This just hurts me. Hurts my feelings, man. Just hurts my feelings. Hurts my heart. I hate seeing it. Just, oh my gosh. We got basketball in fall is what we got. I know we at Quackenbush is loving life because Indiana is doing something finally in some sport because they haven't been good in basketball since Bob Knight was there. So, so I give Quack something, but my goodness, Illinois versus Indiana. Come on. What's wrong with this world when Notre Dame is 0-2 and Indiana is playing in a bigger game than Notre Dame? What is going on in the state of Indiana right now?
That's where we are. We didn't even talk about Notre Dame tonight.
Being
Talk
0-2.
about heartbreak. Your daggum guy who for some reason was your starting quarterback not that long ago goes out and can't handle the extra point, and that's why you lose at home. That's tough. This weekend we have a big matchup in the Big Ten.
Love it, Scott.
Illinois versus Indiana on NBC.
People here at Scott Millsap on Facebook just told us, for people that are listening to the podcast, that Indiana versus Illinois, it's like 1940s football. We got the Four Horsemen, whatever they called.
Yeah.
Coming out. Anyway,
our boy Luke LeBourgeois, our resident LSU fan, got in too. We were talking about Florida that they're going to watch Napier get fired at halftime. Pete Thamel's going to be on location for the firing.
Luke, I got to ask you, man, what's your coach doing yelling at the media for after a win? I mean, come on, dude. The guy asked a legit question. What's wrong with your offense? I think that's a fair question.
I feel like it's fair. I don't know if Luke's going to get back at it. He's probably going to go scoreboard on us or something.
Well, I mean, I'm not. He can go scoreboard on us. That's not my point. My point is, like, why is Brian Kelly yelling at the media people of all? I mean, they won the game, and he's like going off on it crazy because the guy says, "Hey, coach, what's wrong with your offense right now?" And he's like, "We won the game, and what else you want us to do?" And then tells
we got 250 yards.
How is that a stupid question when you were like 1 for 10 on third down?
So he's defending his guys. That's the official word.
They didn't say anything bad about their guys.
He said, "What are you going to do to get better? Like, what's the problem? Why can't you convert a third down?"
It was a fair question.
Third downs. I mean,
it was a fair question. The reporter did not deserve to get yelled at like that. I'm sorry. You get paid $10 million, Brian Kelly, to answer those questions. It's a fair question about your football team, how they can get better. Very fair question. I don't care if it's the first question after an SEC win. Why do we have to be like, why do we got to kiss these coaches' asses all the time? We don't have to always kiss their ass first. It was a fair question. As a reporter.
If he wants to give an opening statement, he can give an opening statement.
We've gone in there, and Dabo's won games, and we've asked him a tough question like that right off the bat, and Dabo ain't knocked it down our throats. He has, trust me, Dabo has come at us, me included, with some questions, but he never said my question was stupid. Like he told, Dabo's never said my question was stupid, like he told that guy.
If he thought it was stupid, he'd probably call and tell you afterwards.
He might.
They wouldn't tell you on national TV.
And I'm like, it's okay to jump on a reporter. I'm not saying that, but don't jump on a reporter when it's a fair question. If it's a stupid question, jump on us. We said something stupid. We deserve it.
There's stupid questions asked at Clemson every week.
All the time. But
that would say who's asking them.
The reporter didn't deserve that. That's all I'm saying. The reporter did not deserve to get yelled at and then be told his question was stupid. And I hope the rest of the media is not going to answer something this stupid, so he did, but Dabo didn't say the question was stupid. Dabo just went off.
So here's what you come to believe in Clemson football for us to tell you, why Clemson sucked last week, but you stay around for Will versus Luke LeBourgeois in the post game here. That's what you stick around for.
Hey, so. I love that Luke comes back and even though Clemson and LSU don't play for another year, that he keeps coming back and listening to the Clemson podcast. I appreciate that. And then I loved what he said earlier. I don't know if you saw up in there. He says Clemson needs to start actually playing good so he can actually feel good about his Tigers.
Yeah, because what's their best win right now?
It's not Clemson.
Might be
not Florida.
Might be La Tech. I don't know.
La Tech is his best win right now. Sounds like Spurrier. What do you want me to do, Ron? What do you want me to do, Ron? Well, what do you want me to do? I was at that press conference, by the way. So that was here in Clemson after the 2008 game when Clemson beat them and Dabo got his job. What do you want me to do, Ron? I mean, what do you want me to do? Then a couple of years later, it was, got a negative guy here. Got a negative guy. Who sucks worse, Cade or Arch? Hurts my eyes watching Cade. Right now, I say Cade does.
Yeah. I don't know. Arch did throw, 10 incompletions in a row against, UTSA or somebody like UTEP.
Yeah, he
last
did.
Week and was getting booed.
Yeah, he did. Maybe they're both bad. Let's just say they're equally bad. Can we say that? Can we just say they're both equally bad?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Big Low, appreciate you, man. Appreciate you, buddy. Thanks for the comments.
Like, comment, subscribe, everybody. We're back on YouTube every week. It's probably the best, most reliable way to watch us.
Yes.
We're on Facebook every week on the Clemson Insider, but Facebook's been having some issues with keeping this thing going.
Yeah, I don't know we've had issues with that. So far today, looks like it's been pretty good though.
We've been good and steady on Facebook today, but I would say YouTube is probably the most reliable way to watch this. And then definitely go subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon, wherever you get your podcasts. We're there too if you got to catch up on something or miss part of the live show.
Exactly, or go to Believe.com and get the podcast there as well. But that's going to do it for Believe in Clemson, presented by FanDuel. We appreciate you guys listening to us. It's always fun, man. Appreciate all the comments and the love we got on the show and all. Appreciate you guys listening to us and having fun with us each and every week. As you can see, me and Alex get off the rails a little bit, and that's intentional, as we like to just kind of treat it like a bunch of guys just talking about sports, because that's what it is. And so we appreciate you guys being with us. For Alex Dodd, I'm Will Vandervort. We'll talk to you next time on Believe in Clemson, presented by FanDuel.